As noted on the agenda posted to the internet, we welcome public comment on the items on the agenda to ensure maximum opportunity to participate. Speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak for up to 4 minutes. At this time, I'll ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda today. None. Lastly, please note when we turn to the project section of the agenda, we will continue the process of focusing on each region's strategic plan and present projects by region, with the vote being taken at the end of the presentation for each region. As always, directors have received the written materials in advance and free to ask questions at any time during the presentations. The first item on today's agenda is approval of the minutes of November 17th. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'll ask the directors to approve the appointment of Robert Magna as an officer of the corporation. Specifically, it's Vice President, Finance and Administration, SUNY Poly Projects. Many of you are familiar with Bob Magna. We welcome him. He has extensive experience in state government. He used to head Division of Budget, and he will be based in Albany at SUNY Poly, working for ESD as a point person with many of the financial and administrative matters associated with so many of our projects, be it Fort Schuyler or Fuller Road or other. So we welcome Bob. As you know, we have engaged fully, ESD has, in these SUNY Poly related projects across the board: finance, legal, procurement, business development, management, you name it. I think we were doing a really wonderful job advancing those projects in a way that we're all comfortable with proper due diligence and scrutiny and review. So we welcome Bob. I don't know if Bob is on the line, but you know Bob. His reputation precedes him, and we've enjoyed working with him actually just in the last few weeks. So
moved.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'm just going to mention a few items that are not on the agenda. You may have seen recently the governor announced a significant life science initiative to grow this really important 21st century industry here in New York. It has not only great potential economic impact, but obviously potential health, life-saving impact. So we're seeing in the economic development arena a lot of companies that are growing in the life science sector, but we can also do a lot better. I think the governor is really raising the bar and advancing our initiatives by creating R&D tax credits, by inducing more available space for innovation and research. So we really welcome these initiatives in life science. New York State is primed with our amazing research institutions, our amazing hospitals. We have all the pieces we need for an extremely robust ecosystem for life sciences. It wasn't that many years ago when the tech sector wasn't that big of a cluster in New York, and now it is huge and growing, and life sciences for us can be that as well. So we really welcome the way the governor has paved the way, I think, for accelerated growth and opportunity for drug discovery and for economic development associated with life sciences. So that was great news this week. We want to recognize the bond team here at ESD, of which there are, of course, many people who play a role in finance and legal, but we have been honored, our team has been honored, well-earned, with a number of recognitions. The Bond Buyer Financial Industry Publication named the New York Transportation Development Corporation $2.4 billion bond issuance as the Northeast Region 2016 Deal of the Year. So I want to congratulate the team on that. All right. And Smith's Research and Gradings, a research company that provides independent research and third-party analysis, named the same bond issuance Deal of the Year. So we're excited about that. I'm still looking for the plaque that goes in the general lobby. So we won't discuss that. We're fine. We're looking for it. Governor Cuomo announces $30 million for Alstom transportation. We were in Hornell, New York, in the southern tier, Donna. And this was a very exciting announcement that ESD actually has been involved with for some years. Alstom has been competing for the high-speed rail for Amtrak for some years. These solicitations take a long time. We have been in Alstom's corner now literally for over 2 years. We helped them to compete successfully for this award, and it will result in hundreds of new jobs on what is the coolest high-speed rail that will be manufactured in the country, right in Hornell, New York. So we're very excited about that in Steuben County. We were pleased to have BlackRock add commitment of 700 jobs here in New York City. This is a company with operations all over the world, including contiguous states. And the finance industry is awfully important to the tax revenue and to the economy here in New York City and New York State. And truthfully, without this type of investment, this type of job growth, we can't afford so many of the projects that we get recognized for, like LaGuardia Airport and other important infrastructure projects. So, it's important that we continue to grow the private sector jobs, private sector employment, grow the tax base. It gives us the opportunity to invest back in infrastructure projects and things of that nature. We were in Buffalo yesterday and with the governor, where he announced that General Motors is investing over $330 million in Tonawanda, New York, to produce a next generation engine. They won't, for confidentiality and competitive reasons, they won't identify exactly which vehicles these are for, but it's the next generation engine. This plant goes back about 80 years. It has an amazing, rich history in New York State and in Western New York and Tonawanda. So it was fabulous. They have literally thousands of people working, 4,200 total manufacturing jobs in New York State. So when you see GM investing hundreds of millions of dollars in the state, it's great news.
Howard, this particular plant is currently idle, or are they just adding to?
No, it's been busy. I mean, they're one of their main engine plants in the country, but there are several plants. I mean, there are some plants. One of the speakers was from the UAW, and he referenced that, we can never take for granted the current status of these facilities. There are several facilities in the country that are, have idle shifts and things of that nature. So the fact that this is so busy and that GM, is continuing to invest in it, I think is a great vote of confidence for the workforce and for the state. So in the state.
Powertrain for every car company. Powertrain is their bailiwick. They'll farm out interiors, bodywork, suspension, brakes, all the stuff. Powertrain, engine, transmission, that stuff they consider proprietary. Mm-hmm. So this is great news because the car companies are never going to give up their hold on powertrain. Mm-hmm. So that's great news.
Yep. And we were in Rochester yesterday as well, announcing the selection of ON Semiconductor as the site for AIM Photonics, which is this, national manufacturing innovation consortium that really builds on the photonics industry, which is the successor to the optics industry, which has such a long history in the Finger Lakes, and as we know, is a important strategic driver for the Finger Lakes. So having gone through this very thorough, very independent process of making a selection really helps move that region forward and move this initiative forward, which has got literally hundreds of millions of dollars of state commitment and hundreds of $1 million of federal and industry commitment. So it's a great news for Rochester. And Hilda was there. I know she isn't able to join us today, but she was at our meeting yesterday. I think those are just, some of the highlights of the last weeks that have occurred. We could spend the whole meeting on these things. There's never a dull day in New York State. And Donna, we welcome you. Donna is our regional director in the Southern Tier, and she's going to take us through a presentation on the Southern Tier strategy. But we're going to have to move some of the munchies in order to have the screen.
Thank you. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Donna, as Howard said, and I'm with the Southern Tier Regional Office. And before I start with the PowerPoint, I do want to point out on this slide the new logo of Southern Tier Soaring that was adopted a couple of months ago. It's really meaningful for our region because it's not just ESD. What we're really trying to do is a statewide effort to support economic development in our region. So it's ESD, but it's also all of the state agencies and resources that are pooling together to support some of our strategic priorities of our council and also of ESD and the rest of the state. So just a little bit about our part of New York. It's 6,260 square miles, and it's home to more than 648,000 people. We are home to academic powerhouses like Cornell University, Binghamton University, small liberal arts colleges like Elmira College and Ithaca College, as well as, of course, many community colleges and technical schools. We also have cultural institutions that attract visitors, including the Watkins Glen International Speedway, which you may have heard in Watkins Glen. We have the Corning Museum of Glass, which if you haven't ever visited, it's definitely worth the trip in Steuben County. We also have local and state parks throughout the region. We are largely rural, but we have some of our larger urban centers like Binghamton and Corning and Elmira, Hornell, Ithaca, and Norwich. Actually, and I wanted to point out I-86 right there towards the bottom. That's currently under construction, but that's going to improve interstate access for some of our companies and travelers.
I should know, Steuben Glass, does it come from Steuben County?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it does. It's a specialty glass that I think originally came from Corning, but I think it's its own company now. So. And I think you can get it at the Corning Museum of Glass in the gift shop. So a major driver of our strategic plan is also having kind of a clear-eyed assessment of what our challenges are and understanding what those are and how they fit into our larger strategy. One major challenge that we've been facing is a loss of our labor pool. According to the metric that's been calculated since 1990, we've never had a lower labor pool to draw from for our companies. Since the data was first collected, our employment numbers lag behind the rest of the state. Our average wage and median income, as you can see, are lower than average, and our housing stock is aging. In fact, 1/3 was built before 1939. But we also have a really good story to tell. We have dozens of prominent universities like Cornell and Binghamton University. We have a large agriculture industry. We have over 6,000 farms, in fact, in the Southern Tier alone. And in fact, when we talk about that collaboration between the different state agencies and a statewide effort, the Ag and Markets Department announced about a year ago a $30 million ag industry enhancement program to support projects to help grow farms in the Southern Tier. And so the first round was announced a few months ago, and that'll be a continuing program to support the ag industry in our region. And then healthcare is actually the largest employer in our region. That picture in the middle is what the new pharmacy school is going to be looking like. It's under construction now, and it's in Johnson City. It's part of Binghamton University's larger Health Sciences and Technology Innovation Park. But we're making strategic investments in pharmaceutical sciences as a key industry. So last summer, we always like to share this quote. Last summer we had William Dudley, president of the New York Federal Reserve, come to visit us in our region. He toured several different sites, including Binghamton University. He met with community groups as well as some of the members of our council, and it was a really great visit. It was a lot of information sharing, and this quote, "I was encouraged by what I saw. The region is making serious efforts to boost economic growth, with Binghamton University playing a key role in fostering local business activity." And that really kind of hit exactly what we're trying to accomplish in the Southern Tier, which is, creating those partnerships between academia and our communities, and working together on economic development, which is so important as we begin to realize some of our goals in our plan. And you may have heard about this project. This is our Dick's Sporting Goods Distribution Center, and this was a really meaningful project for a number of reasons. It's currently under construction, and it's going to be employing 466 new people in Broome County. It's a 650,000 square foot facility, and it was announced this past summer. But what's really, I think, most sentimental, I think, for the community is that Dick's actually started, it was founded in Binghamton in 1948. And so this story of a company kind of coming home was really special, I think, to the community and our residents. That, this company, along with many others, are recognizing that the Southern Tier is a good place to start and grow a business.
Is there any way we can turn off the air conditioning?
Yes.
Thanks.
And this facility will service about 200 sites throughout the Northeast, retail locations. So one of the things that we've been charged with at the regional office and our regional council is to focus on certain state priorities that are important for all of New York State. And those include the regional economic cluster plans, global marketing and exports, the regional opportunity agenda, hotspots and business incubators, the community, college, and SUNY and CUNY plans, veterans participation, and local government engagement in the regional council process. And I'll touch on a couple of those, not all of them, but just some of our successes. So the first one is our regional.
That picture in the left up on the corner with the train, just a prior slide, where is that? Yeah, that.
That is a rendering of the Acela train that Howard mentioned earlier for the Amtrak contract out of Alstom.
Yeah.
So our regional economic cluster was adopted a couple years ago, and it is the transportation products, components, and system controls. And this is really important because actually our location quotient, which if you're not familiar, defines the concentration of an industry in a specific region compared to the nation as a whole. The location quotient for transportation products manufacturing in the Southern Tier is 11.05, which is really astronomical. And so some of these pictures kind of demonstrate some of the things that are going on in the Southern Tier. On the left is a picture of an MH-60 helicopter, which is made in Owego at the Lockheed Martin facility, which is in Tioga County. It's right in the middle of our region. This is also known as a Seahawk, which is the Navy's version of the Black Hawk. So that's the Navy Seahawk on the left. In the middle is Raymond Manufacturing in Shenango County. They make forklifts and pallet jacks. And on the right is that Alstom announcement a couple of weeks ago where Governor Cuomo actually visited and was able to announce that Alstom was selected for this enormous $2.5 billion contract with Amtrak to create 30 train sets, which is going to create about 200 jobs and actually puts in over $1 billion in local economic impact, which also is important because Alstom, 66% of their supply chain comes from New York State vendors. So that's just has an effect throughout not just our region but the state.
Yeah, that's a great point, the whole supply chain. But also when you have as on your resume, so to speak, that you've made the most modern train in America right at your facility, and as you're competing for other rail projects across the country in the years ahead, not only is there 200 jobs associated with this specific project, but it really bolsters their experience, their credibility as they compete. So, I mean, we're very optimistic about the future of this company for, decade or decades ahead. So it's really a great story.
Howard, is Alstom a French company?
It's, yes.
Yes. Were they bought by GE?
They spun off, GE, I think,
Bought
owned
some of their parts,
a portion of Alstom.
not the rail stuff.
Not the rail. I think there was a portion of it that was like natural gas, maybe energy.
I think maybe, yeah.
Related.
Transformer stuff in Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
Our next state priority is our hotspots and incubators. So the Southern Tier Startup Alliance is a partnership between Binghamton University, Corning Incorporated, our Ceramics Corridor, and Cornell, which is our designated innovation hotspot. And again, talking about other state agencies and the collaboration in our region, they were selected by NYSERDA to lead 76 West, which is a $20 million clean energy business competition. And we recently made those announcements, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And we had 175 applications for companies in the clean energy space. And it also continues to focus on hardware entrepreneurship. And also, this picture is the Southern Tier High Technology Incubator. So the picture on the left is where it's currently under construction in downtown Binghamton. On the right is what it will eventually look like when completed. Our next priority is our SUNY 2020. One of our community college, SUNY CUNY state priorities is this picture. In the middle, it's under construction. On the right is a rendering of when completed. But it's the Smart Energy Research and Development Facility, which is part of the larger Innovation Technology Complex. If you've ever gone to an event at BU in the past year or two, you've probably been in this building. It's a beautiful building, and they have a lot of other things inside, including their business incubator and the startup space. And this portion of the building is going to be a 114,000 square foot facility. Furthermore, since 2011, through the SUNY 2020 program, Binghamton University has grown by enrollment by 12%, and then graduate enrollment has increased by 14%, and they've added 136 net new tenured or tenured track faculty positions. So now I want to move into the priorities unique to the Southern Tier. These are our 4 pillars, which were identified in our plan last year, which we have coined the Southern Tier Soaring Plan. And it's built on a focus on the first, build the greater Binghamton innovation ecosystem. Second, to transform the food and ag industry. Third, to invest in advanced manufacturing. And fourth, to promote the Southern Tier's innovative culture, which is the quality of life or kind of catch-all for tourism and attraction of millennials. So the first is our Binghamton I-Districts, or the Binghamton ecosystem, and it's based off this idea of 3 different I-Districts. The first is the city of Binghamton, which is where that incubator was in downtown. The second is the Johnson City Health and Cultural I-District, which includes a healthcare industry. That's the pharmacy school. That's the new nursing school that was recently announced a month or 2 ago, where they're relocating the Decker School of Nursing and expanding it right downtown Johnson City. And then third is the Endicott Advanced Manufacturing I-District. And actually our first URI announcement, that's the picture on the left, is the Flex Tech, which is an NMI, the federal program for manufacturing institutes, where Binghamton University is going to be the lead node for New York State of this institute. And they're going to focus on flexible hybrid electronics, or FHE. So that alliance is called Flex Tech. And then on the right is our healthcare in Johnson City. Our second is the advanced manufacturing, and again, we have that location quotient of 11.05 for transportation manufacturing. We're also going to be investing in innovation and emerging technologies and focusing on STEM workers. The picture on the left is actually Anchor Glass in Chemung County. They were provided a $2.5 million grant to increase capacity because their plant is 103 years old. So without that support, they would have moved elsewhere. So we were able to retain that in Chemung County and retain the 299 very high-paying manufacturing jobs. And on the right is Corning Incorporated, which is headquartered in Corning in Steuben County. We've also seen the average wage rise since 2012 by about 8% in advanced manufacturing. Third is our rural and food-based economy. I think I mentioned earlier the Ag and Markets Agency invested a $30 million ag industry enhancement program, and that's just for the southern tier because this is such an important industry. And we have a lot of really neat things, especially with Cornell University doing research. It's one of the top ag schools in the world, and they're doing research on growing seasons and increasing the amount of time that crops can be grown on the East Coast, especially as we see more agriculture moving from places like California to the East Coast. So we're hoping that the southern tier can provide a lot of the ag products for the entire East Coast. Projects including this Ithaca beer picture. So we recently provided them a $175,000 grant. They've been experiencing tremendous growth, about 40% each year. You've probably seen it around here. They're pretty widely distributed, but they just did a critical expansion to increase their production and distribution facility in Tompkins County. And finally, this is kind of our quality of life catch-all priority, which seeks to retain graduates. So we're looking at innovation and technology and startups, nurturing a critical mass of entrepreneurs, and looking at innovation and intellectual capital, and retaining some of the brain power from some of our universities like Cornell and Binghamton University. And we're doing that by improving quality of life components. So if you look at the picture, that's a picture on the left is a waterfall in Tompkins County. Ithaca and Tompkins County has beautiful parks. Buttermilk Falls, Taganic Falls are all great places. We also have, I guess we have the fingertips of the Finger Lakes of Seneca and Cayuga Lake. So, and then the picture of the right again is of Watkins Glen International Speedway. And for such a small community of Watkins Glen, this is a massive draw for visitors. We have more than 830,000 a year. It has more than 200 million in economic impact each year. And we recently gave them a $2.25 million grant, which allowed them to have critical track and safety upgrades. And as a result, IndyCar announced this summer that they're going to be coming back for the next 2 years for the IndyCar Grand Prix starting in 2017. So this is really exciting news for Watkins Glen and the Southern Tier. And so briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about Elmira. They were recently announced as our DRI award winner, Downtown Revitalization, and they have a lot of really great projects that are going on. So they have this $10 million infusion from the Department of State's program, and they're going to be leveraging that to have this concentrated investment right in their downtown. It's a 595.5 acre area, which includes 3 historic districts, 2 colleges, churches, government offices, a business improvement district, and it's the city's central business district. The picture on the far right is their Clemens Center, and their theater inside has been renovated and is beautiful, and that's a big draw for shows. And then the picture on the top is kind of the overview of our Elmira Refresh. So they're really trying to make this a destination for entertainment, dining, retail, residential, and commercial uses. So that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great job, Donna, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Any questions for Donna on the Southern Tier presentation? Donna, I should have given a little bit of background about you, because Donna is one of these young, smart, experienced people who are moving to New York State from places like Illinois. And why don't you just, with a background in economic development, actually, before she got to Empire State, why don't you just talk a bit about your background?
Okay, well, I moved here a year ago, so I'm a new New York State resident. I was born and raised in Urbana, Illinois. I came here, my last position before here was actually the counterpart agency. It was the Illinois Department of Commerce, where I was the East Central Region Manager. So counterpart position in my region there had similar industry clusters as the Southern Tier. We had our land-grant university, University of Illinois, where I did a lot of work there with their research park, and manufacturing and agriculture were some of the big industry clusters. And then before that, I was working for Governor Quinn as the Constituent Affairs Director. But my background has always been economic development. Did my master's in performance measurement and economic development. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really excited that everyone in New York has been so welcoming. And there's so much good news that we've had just over the past year since I've been here. And I think more people like me are starting to look at New York State and the Southern Tier to come
Great.
live.
Way to go. Thank you. Great.
Thanks very much.
Glendon, we're going to call on you to give us a summary on some of the projects we're going to be reviewing.
Thank you, and good morning, Howard. The directors will be requested to consider 18 projects totaling $36,242,600 in grants. The projects include 11 regional council awards and 8 discretionary awards. The project will take place in the Finger Lakes, Southern Tier, Western New York City, Mohawk Valley, Capital, and New York regions. Central New York regions leverage over $166 million of additional investment, retain 2,212 jobs, and create 417 jobs in the state. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Glenn. Donna, we'll go back to you. You've got 3 projects.
All right, so the first is Crown Holdings Capital. The directors are requested to approve a grant of $6.9 million to Crown Cork and Seal for a portion of the cost of acquisition and the purchase of machinery and equipment to establish a new manufacturing facility in the Southern Tier. The company sought out assistance after considering New York State as a possible location for its expansion project. During the planning phases of the project, it was deemed unfeasible to operate in New York State without the appropriate assistance to offset high development costs due to poor conditions of the existing infrastructure. These development costs included utility capacity upgrades, gas, water, and wastewater upgrades. The company received 8.1 through the Excelsior program to support expansion in New York State. The project is consistent with our regional goal to build the region's advanced manufacturing sector into a global leader and tech hub for next generation development. This is going to create 164 full-time jobs. The second is Sports Fields Facilities. The directors are requested to approve a grant of $900,000 to Sports Fields for a portion of the cost of construction and the purchase of machinery and equipment to support a 57,000 square foot addition to the west side of its current facility in Delhi. The additional facility includes new manufacturing workspace, inventory storage and distribution facility, and office space. This expansion project also included the purchase of new metal processing equipment. The building addition will create a more efficient sports manufacturing operation and support new customer demand for sports facility development and upgrades. It's consistent with our plan to create opportunities for key manufacturing infrastructure. And ESD assistance will allow the company to retain 58 jobs and create 37 new jobs. And we don't have green lumber.
I'm sorry? Or do we only have 2 projects?
Yeah, we only have.
Okay. Sorry, we missed it.
We didn't, yeah, was that pulled? Or did we weren't told?
Yeah, we didn't.
We weren't told.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't have that.
We'll come back to it before the meeting's over. Why don't we just, address the 2 items that you presented, and if we discover a third, we'll come back and present it. So let me ask for any questions from directors on the 2 items that have been presented. Any comments from the public on these items? Is there a motion to approve the 2 items?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Donna. Steve Gold is here, who will present the Time Inc. World Trade Center Job Creation and Retention Program item. Steve.
Good morning and thank you.
You just got to talk into the microphone. We all have to remember to try and talk into the microphone during the meeting.
Okay.
There you go.
Good morning and thank you. The directors are requested to approve a $7 million World Trade Center Job Creation and Retention Grant for Time Inc. In early 2014, the digital and print media publisher Time Inc. undertook an evaluation of its New York operations in light of its upcoming plans to become an independently traded company. The company expected to be spun out of its longtime parent Time Warner later that year. With increasing competition from both established players and fast-growing new media firms, Time Inc. was looking to reduce the operating expenses of its soon-to-be independent company. This included consolidating its space into new facilities outside of its current high-cost Midtown Manhattan location. The company narrowed down its location options to Lower Manhattan's Brookfield Place and Jersey City's Harborside office development. In previous years, New Jersey had attracted notable media and publishing firms such as Wiley, Forbes, and Pearson, making it a viable low-cost option for Time Inc. At the time the company engaged ESD in discussion, the World Trade Center Job Creation and Retention Grant Program, or JCRP, was available for attractions to Lower Manhattan of at least 200 jobs. Federally funded JCRP grants are based on a number of factors, including a project's economic and fiscal impact, the number of retained and attracted jobs, and the industry. Companies accepting JCRP grants offers apply to ESD for disbursement of grant funds after achieving the incentive grant offer's terms and conditions. In order to encourage Time Inc. to relocate to Lower Manhattan rather than Jersey City, a $7 million JCRP grant was offered to the company, requiring the company to employ at least 2,000 at its new downtown headquarters. Time Inc. agreed to proceed with the project in Lower Manhattan and also received an offer of a $3 million Excelsior Investment Tax Credit in returning for investing over $162 million building out and equipping its new location. At this point, the company has relocated over 2,200 jobs downtown, and since mid-2015 employs an additional 470 digital media jobs at its creative lab and content studio in Brooklyn's Industry City. Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Steve on this item?
Steve, just briefly, Time Inc. has been in the news a little bit. Is there any provision or allowance that is made if somebody else were to acquire the company? What kind of commitments remain to ESD?
The new company would take on that commitment or have to return the funds if they don't live up to the commitment.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions from directors? Any comment from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you, Steve. Let's see, next up, Vinny, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning, Howard.
Great, welcome. Take it away.
So I have 5 projects for you this morning, so I apologize in advance for the length of this. The first 2 are both related to Rochester Institute of Technology, what we refer to as RIT. The first one, the directors are requested to approve a $5 million capital grant to RIT for the Golisano Institute for Sustainability, what we call GIS. Adjacent to the Louise Slaughter Hall, which consolidates all of RIT's sustainability and related activities, including the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute and the New York State Center of Excellence in Sustainable Manufacturing. RIT completed construction and equipment of this GIS facility. In a combination with ESD's grant, they received a federal NIST grant from the National Institute of Science Standards and Technology, as well as its own equity. Examples of the uses of this grant include equipment to test vehicles for fuel efficiency and emissions, fuel conversion and fuel cell technology development, smart microgrid system testing, and state-of-the-art digital manufacturing and product realization, which can prototype just about anything that can be imagined. Total project cost was $15 million. The project was completed fully in October 2016. This will allow RIT to create 54 new jobs and retain 68 at GIS. The second project at RIT is the directors are being asked to approve $300,000 capital grant for the purchase of a metal organic vapor phase epitaxy system, or what we call MOVPE, just to keep it simple, which allows for the growth of novel materials to pursue advances in materials science. RIT, as you may know or remember, is a major player in the Finger Lakes region optics, photonics, and imaging industry, which has been identified as the top industry cluster for the strategic plan of the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council. This system is a major upgrade to RIT's clean room facility and will be available to research teams across multiple disciplines, including the optics and photonics industries. RIT is the only university in New York State with this system, which provides essential resources and new capabilities in multiple nanotechnology applications for regional academic and industrial partners. This was awarded as a result of a regional council priority project in round 3. The total project cost was $1.45 million, and this project is now complete. The next two projects relate to, I believe Howard mentioned at the top, an announcement the governor made 3 weeks ago for a few anti-poverty initiatives in Rochester, which is, if you also recall from the Upstate Revitalization Initiative strategic planning, a primary focus of this region to help the community's efforts in reducing poverty. So the first project, or the third project, I guess, in your agenda for our region, the directors are requested to approve a $3 million working capital grant from the URI to the Hillside Works Scholarship Connection, a non-for-profit organization in the Rochester area, for a project comprising youth education and workforce development. The project aligns with the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council's plan and their URI strategy to reduce poverty, what we call Pathways to Prosperity. Fighting poverty is a major initiative in the Rochester and Monroe County area, having been formed following Governor Cuomo's Rochester Anti-Poverty Task Force in 2015. This grant will fund program operations, including salaries and other working capital expenditures. It will be matched by $3 million of private funding to be raised by the Hillside Works Scholarship Connection. The project will include, among other things, high school-based college career navigators in partnership with Monroe Community College, focusing on students from two of Rochester's poorest neighborhoods, which are the target area for the governor's anti-poverty task force. These navigators work with students to improve outcomes in terms of graduation rate, as well as transition to post-secondary school education and/or careers. Hillside Works Scholarship is a nationally recognized agency that has worked for 30 years in this discipline to help at-risk middle school and high school youth compete high school to transition on. The youth in this program have succeeded in reaching these milestones at a higher rate than their peers, particularly in the city of Rochester. Rochester, just as background, is the third poorest city in the United States in terms of its concentration of childhood poverty for cities of equitable size. This grant will be dispersed in 6 installments as the grantee ramps up and meets its goals over the next 2 years. The agency will create 57 new jobs at primarily locations in the districts of the neighborhoods of the city of Rochester that I've mentioned. Relatedly, another similar but separate anti-poverty program, the next agenda item, the directors are requested to approve a $1.5 million working capital grant from the URI to the Catholic Family Center, which is a not-for-profit, non-denominational organization in Rochester, to provide a holistic adult mentoring program as opposed to the youth mentoring program you just heard. This project also aligns with the Finger Lakes Region Economic Development Council's strategy to reduce poverty and its Pathways to Prosperity pillar. Fighting poverty continues to be a priority. This is just background on the same issue. This grant will also fund program operations, including salaries and other working capital expenditures, will also be matched one-to-one by private dollars to be raised by the Catholic Family Center. Catholic Family Center is the largest provider of comprehensive human services in Monroe County, serving about 32,000 clients, 78% of which have incomes below the federal poverty level. Catholic Family Center was selected to perform these services following a public RFP process undergone by the governor's anti-poverty task force in Rochester. Among other things, project activities will focus on the recruitment of 150 family participants in one particular professional mentoring treatment group and 150 additional participants in another model called the Family Independence Initiative, both adult mentoring models to be tested as a pilot for the anti-poverty task force to determine potential expansion in the future. There will be measurable goals, including the grantee's hiring of 12 new full-time employees at the Catholic Family Center and partner organizations, and enrolling of the 300 new participants. The grant will be dispersed in 4 installments as the grantee ramps up and meets goals, again, over the next 2 years. The fifth and final project is the directors are being requested to approve capital grants totaling, 2 grants, $375,000 to Keuka College, a private undergraduate college in Yates County, for construction, furnishing, fixtures, software, and IT equipment. The college sought to optimize its business creation, retention, and attraction in its county by prioritizing data analytics services to businesses, as well as to position its students and faculty to take advantage of the latest big data tools. As a result, Keuka College created a Center for Business Analytics and Health Informatics and constructed a building to house it, as well as other uses adjacent to its campus. This was awarded in 2014 and 2015 Regional Council priority projects through the CFA process. The project was complete and opened in August of 2016. Be happy to take questions on any of those 5 items.
Great, thanks, Vinny. Good job. Broad array of projects from next generation technology to workforce to mentoring to scholarships. Aligned with your plan and in many cases partnering with our anchor institutions in the Finger Lakes region. Are there any questions on any of these 5 projects from the directors?
Vinny, that was a flawless presentation as usual. Can you give us a layman's explanation on the second project? What is epitaxy?
I wish I knew, to be honest with you. It's a new equipment system that allows them to enhance the research capabilities in their clean room. That's about as much as I can describe as a layman, but we were pleased to allow those researchers to have that additional capability in that particular clean room, which has been very useful for their efforts related to training people to work in the semiconductor industry as well as the optics and photonics industry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any comments from the public on either of these 5 items? Is there a motion to approve all of them?
Moved.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you so much. Next up, Jim Fail, our Regional Director from Central New York, has 3 items. Jim?
Good morning.
Hey.
The first item that the directors are being asked to approve is a $700,000 capital grant on a $4 million mixed-use redevelopment project in downtown Auburn to restore and rehabilitate 2 historic buildings. This project was a round 4 priority project for the regional councils, and the project is completed and fully occupied. The second grant that the board will be asked to complete or approve is a $550,000 grant on a $5.9 million project to construct a 12,000 square foot brewery and supporting farmstead operation in Casanova, New York. This is a unique facility in that they grow their hops right on the location that they brew their beverages. And one of the unique outcomes of this is they recently entered into a partnership with China based on a recent trip to China to brew a tea-based beer for the Chinese people. The project has been completed, and they were to create 28 jobs, and they've exceeded that job goal, and that was a round 2 priority project. The final project is an additional mixed-use redevelopment project in downtown Syracuse. It's a $500,000 grant on a $2.5 million project to complete the upper 2 floors of the Days building, 22,000 square feet, which will create an additional 16 apartments in this building. This was an outside the CFA project. However, it does have the support of the regional council as it continues to build out and redevelop our downtown area. And again, this project is also completed. And I'd be glad to take any questions.
Questions for Jim on either of these 3 Central New York projects? Any comments from the public on these items? Is there a motion to approve the 3 items? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Jim. Mike Reese, who directs our Mohawk Valley region. Take it away, Mike. I think you've got a few projects.
Good morning, Howard.
Hey.
Directors are requested to approve a $500,000 Economic Development Fund grant to Utica College for renovations to 34,000 square feet of space on the first and fifth floors of the Clark City Center building, which is located at 181 Genesee Street in Utica, New York. Total project cost is $1,213,074. The project is consistent with our regional plan to redevelop our downtowns. Utica College is a private university originally founded by Syracuse University in 1946. The college became financially and legally independent in 1995. The college has approximately 4,500 full and part-time students. This is a very exciting project in that it will accommodate the relocation of 800 students in the business and economics programs to Genesee Street in downtown Utica from the college's main campus 3 miles away. The college's initial employment at the time of incentive proposal was 15. They have since created 6 new jobs, which exceeds their commitment to create 4 new jobs. The project was completed in July of 2016 and is ready for disbursement.
Great. Mike, any questions from the directors on this item in Utica? Any questions from the public or comment from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Move. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'm going to go back to Donna with one more item from the southern tier, right? Green lumber. So take it away.
Sorry for the confusion. The directors are requested to approve a grant of up to
Someone
$850.
just move, can you just move that a little closer to you, the microphone?
Sure.
Move it up toward you. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Keep going. Get closer.
Okay.
Perfect.
The directors are requested to approve a grant of up to $850,000 to be used for a portion of the costs associated with the construction of electrical infrastructure. The Delaware County IDA will undertake an infrastructure project to meet the electrical power needs of a local company in the town of Davenport. The project is to upgrade NYSEG distribution service and provide additional electrical capacity in the area, which will allow Green Lumber to expand its operations. The project will retain 30 existing full-time permanent employees and create 20 new jobs. The total capital investment for the project is estimated at $1,630,599.
Great. Any questions from directors on this green lumber project? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you, Donna. We are going to welcome Linda Dillon, representing ESD's Capital Region, who will present the Glens Falls Civic Center item.
Good morning, Howard and directors. The directors are requested to approve a $2 million capital grant from the State and Municipal Facilities Program Fund for the City of Glens Falls to support facility and machinery and equipment upgrades at the Glens Falls Civic Center. The Civic Center is a 4,774-seat multi-purpose arena that's located in downtown Glens Falls. Glens Falls being a downtown revitalization winner currently this year. Built in 1979, the Glens Falls Civic Center was originally the home of the Adirondack Red Wings, the former American Hockey League affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings, and has since been home to a number of professional hockey teams. The center also serves as a centerpiece of the Capital Region's sports and entertainment culture, hosting rock and country music concerts and numerous sporting events in addition to hockey, including volleyball, wrestling, basketball, and cheerleading competitions. The city-owned Civic Center is operated and managed by the Adirondack Civic Center Coalition, a not-for-profit organization comprised of local leaders representing marketing, legal, finance, entertainment, and sports industries. The coalition's goal is to keep the Civic Center locally owned and managed and to assure that the facility remains a regional sports and entertainment destination. The Adirondack Civic Center Coalition has managed and maintained the center since 2015 under a lease agreement, and the organization is noted in the director's materials as the project beneficiary. In an effort to successfully continue to host professional hockey and other quality sporting and entertainment attractions, upgrades to the aging facility to meet athletic league and venue standards has become a priority of the Capital Region Economic Development Council. And the city and its partners began exploring opportunities for funding. The ESD $2 million capital grant was awarded in early 2016 and supports the purchase and installation of a state-of-the-art video scoreboard and video messaging system, improvements to building systems and locker rooms, and concession stand and facility maintenance equipment. That includes a cover for the ice rink, as well as a new Zamboni, all of which are required to attract quality sporting and entertainment venues. The award was announced by the Lieutenant Governor back in February, and the project is underway with completion anticipated by the spring of 2018.
Okay, any questions for Linda from the directors? Any comments from the public on this? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Kelly Baccarizzo will present the Market New York Grant Program. Kelly?
Good afternoon to the board. The Market New York program has one working capital project. We are requesting approval from the board today. The project was awarded in round 5 of the CFA and awarded to the Finger Lakes Tourism Alliance in the amount of $400,000 for a marketing promotion, Wine, Water, and Wonders of Upstate New York. It is a regional tourism multimedia marketing campaign with the overall goal to increase the economic impact to both the Finger Lakes and the Western New York regions. And if you have any questions about the project, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from directors on this item? Comments from the public? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thanks. Jeff Nordhaus will present the new New York Broadband Program. Jeff?
Morning, Howard, thank you. The Broadband Program Office is seeking the director's approval to fund 3 projects totaling $5.7 million in state funds through the new New York Broadband Program. In total, and I was here obviously last month to discuss some of the other awards, in total 25 projects were selected to receive new New York Broadband Program Phase 1 grants. During last month's meeting, we approved 17 grants, and today we are seeking approval for 3 additional projects totaling, as I said, $5.7 million. These will be matched by private funds equaling, $1.4 million for a total of $7.2 million in new broadband deployment investments across the state. These 3 projects will address unserved and underserved areas in Finger Lakes, Southern Tier, Western New York, and the Capital Region. In total, they will address close to 2,000 new locations, including 1,900 housing units that don't have service and 67 other units, including businesses, libraries, and anchor institutions. Information about these 3 projects has been provided to the board ahead of the meeting, and I can discuss any of the projects in greater detail if the board would so request.
Any questions for Jeff on this item? Any comments from the public? A motion to approve.
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. Carried. Paul Tronalone will present administrative action on our agenda related to the Western New York Workforce Training Center. Paul?
Good morning, Howard, and good morning, directors. For your consideration this morning, the authorization of a contract for the operation of the Western New York Workforce Training Center here in Buffalo, Buffalo Billion Initiative that's currently now in the final design phase. The center will provide advanced manufacturing and utility training to some of the city's most underrepresented populations in the local workforce. Now, after a competitive RFP process, the staff is recommending Economic Development Group Partners, or EDG, a not-for-profit consortium formed by Catholic Charities of Buffalo, Goodwill Industries of Western New York, the Buffalo Niagara Manufacturing Alliance, and the Buffalo Urban League. EDG would be responsible for all aspects of the center, short of the actual training itself, which would be staffed by 3 local SUNY colleges. Now, the contract term will be preceded by a planning period that will run until mid-2018 when the center opens, in which EDG will work with project designers on finalizing aspects of the center. And then the main term of the contract would then run for 3 years with the potential of up to 2 one-year extensions. Now, the directors are also being asked to approve an operation subsidy of up to $5 million over the entire term of the contract, as well as a notice to proceed amount for $100,000 out of that $5 million to allow EDG to begin its planning work on the center. So based on the materials presented, the directors are asked to make a determination of responsibility with respect to Economic Development Group partners, authorize a contract with EDG on the terms of the materials, and take any related actions.
Great. Any questions from the directors for Paul Tronalone on this workforce item? Comments from the public on this? Is there a motion to approve?
I just have a quick question.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sure.
The three entities, are they, so EDG is a consortium of Catholic Charities, Goodwill, and the Manufacturing Alliance, correct? Or did they come together just to form this consortium for this project, or have they worked together in the past?
No, they came together for this project.
But they're all familiar with each other. I mean, I would say
Yeah.
they're
Right.
not what you'd call strangers
Yep.
up in Western Europe, for sure.
Yep. Okay.
It was in response to an RFP that we had put together for these services, the workforce training, the wraparound services, things of that nature.
And I take it they each bring
Yep.
whatever talents they bring together to form a
Right.
whole. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Any other questions for Paul? Comments from the public on this? Motion to approve? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Paul. Sue Kong will now present the Women's Building Civic and Land Use Improvement Project. Sue?
Good morning. The directors are requested to authorize entering into a contract with Lee Saltzman Architects to provide historic preservation owners' representative services for the Women's Building Project, which involves the redevelopment of the former Bayview Correctional Facility located at 550 West 20th Street in Manhattan. Owners' rep services are needed in order to monitor compliance with measures stipulated under a letter of resolution among ESD, the State Historic Preservation Office, and the developer in order to minimize impacts on the historic building. Lee Saltzman previously provided historic preservation services during the initial phase of the Women's Building Project. Their familiarity with the project's goals and program, as well as its complexities, will be critical in evaluating the development team's plans and in advising ESD. The requested contract is for a 3-year term with a New York State certified women-owned business enterprise and will not exceed $207,900, including contingency. The contract will be funded entirely from an impressed account funded by the developer. The directors are thus requested to authorize ESD to retain the consultant for services as described in the materials. Thank you.
Questions for Sue on this item? Any comments from the public on this? Motion to approve? Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, thank you, Sue. Christine Kostopoulos will present an item related to the statewide New York State Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program.
Thank you, Howard.
What was that again?
What is that?
Good morning. The directors are being requested to approve grants and take related actions pursuant to the Electric Generation Facility Closure Program. As you may recall, you authorized guidelines for this program at the June 23rd board meeting. The program provides grants to local governments who have lost at least 20% of property tax revenues due to the closure of an electric generating facility within their taxing district and the resulting reduction of property tax payments by the facility. To date, 2 facilities have officially closed, Dunkirk Power in Chautauqua County and Huntley Power in Erie County. 4 local governments have applied for grants, 3 due to the Dunkirk closure and 1 due to the Huntley closure. All 4 local governments have lost 85% or more of property tax payments due to the closure of these facilities. As such, we've proposed grants that will cover 80% of the municipality's tax loss, which is the maximum grant allowed in the first program year. The directors are being asked to approve 4 grants totaling approximately $7.8 million, as described in the director's materials, to the City of Dunkirk, Chautauqua County, the Dunkirk School District, and the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Christine. Any questions for Christine on this item? Is this the first time we've authorized money, do you know, for this?
Yes.
From this legislation?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Any questions from the directors on this? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you, Christine. Paul Tronalone, we're back to you with respect to the Research Foundation for SUNY.
Hello again. This item includes a contract term extension with the Research Foundation for the State University of New York on behalf of the University at Buffalo. Now, this is the funding entity for the University at Buffalo Regional Institute, or UBRI, which provides planning assistance to ESD's Western New York office here in Buffalo related to the implementation of Buffalo Billion initiatives. Now, when UBRI's contract expired this past term, there was still unexpended budget and tasks that were to be completed as part of UBRI's designated minority and women-owned business enterprise subconsultant efforts. So UBI wishes to extend the contract term at no additional cost to the corporation in order to use these unexpended funds for planning efforts related to the earlier item on the Workforce Training Center and other initiatives, and in doing so, meet their targeted MWBE requirements for the contract. The staff concurs with the approach, and the directors are being asked to extend the contract term to June 30th, 2017 at no additional cost to the corporation.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Any questions for Paul on this item? Comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, thanks, Paul. Michael Evans will present an item related to Moynihan Station. Michael?
Hello, Howard, thank you.
Hey.
This item regards the mortgage on the Farley building, which was taken out originally in March of 2007 as part of the acquisition of the building by Empire State Development from the post office. The original mortgage was for $75 million, the original loan. It was rolled over in 2010, again in 2013, and then most recently in 2015. The plan is for the loan to be defeased with the proceeds from the sale of the Farley building and its associated development rights. As you're aware, the governor announced a designation of a developer-builder team in September. We are working diligently to reach financial close in early 2017. However, the current maturity of the loan is February 1st of 2017. City has agreed to extend the maturity date of the mortgage until November of 2017 to allow us time to reach financial close. We will extend on the same terms. In order to do the extension on the same terms, ESD will make its interest payment on the mortgage of $3.1 million with closing costs added on top of that for approximately $4 million by February 1st, and then the mortgage maturity will be extended until November and will be settled as part of financial close.
Okay, good. Do you want to say anything, Elaine? You look like you're going to say something further. No, you're good?
We're negotiating this now, and so if we could have board approval, it'll give Citibank some comfort.
Okay.
Any way you can get the interest rate down?
That would require reissuance, which would be a very different process. So
It seems awfully high from the start. I didn't know it was this high from the beginning. I mean, 2007, that kind of rate?
well, the rate is actually 4.2%. That was the rate from 2015.
Yeah, they got a first lien on the Moynihan Station. It strikes me that that's a pretty secure loan. But that's okay. I mean, it's tailing off. It's at the end, but I wasn't aware that it was that high from the beginning. But it's, look, you got to do what you got to do, and it's part of the cleanup to transition it. So I understand that. But
Given what's happened in interest rates over the last 6 weeks or however long it's been, 4.2 sounds a lot better than it did 3 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, you're right.
All right, let's.
That was election day, wasn't it? Wasn't that election day?
It might have started with that.
Right.
Any other questions or comments from directors? Any comments from the public on this? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Now may I have a motion to conduct an executive session pursuant to paragraph D of section 105 of the New York State Open Meetings Law, during which we will discuss an amendment to a contract for services. Thank you. Executive session. Okay. I'll note, hold on, let me turn this on, sorry. We're back in open session. I'll note for the record that no votes were taken during the executive session. Now, may I have a motion to approve item 4A as presented and considered in executive session?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. The motion carries. Before I call for a motion to adjourn, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend all of you, yada, yada, all the best and everything you could ever imagine and hope for in the new year.
The new holiday of yada yada.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Is there, maybe we need a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you all so much.
Great. Happy holidays.
Holidays.